Hypnosis is a tool that can be used for good or for evil. But there's another form of mind control that is always negative and always dangerous: brainwashing. While hypnosis requires a willing mind, brainwashing is the most severe and destructive form of social influence, designed to change a person's entire belief system against their will. The idea of brainwashing sounds like something out of a movie, but it's a terrifyingly real psychological process. The most famous examples come from the Korean War, where American prisoners of war were systematically tortured and eventually coerced into denouncing their country and pledging allegiance to communism. Psychologists later studied this, and what they found was a disturbing step-by-step process used to completely shatter a person's identity and rebuild it from scratch. So how does it work? The destruction of identity, the brainwashing process, begins with a relentless assault on identity. The first step is complete isolation. Kidnappers and cult leaders use this to cut their victims off from all outside influences. Without friends or family to rely on, the victim becomes emotionally and mentally exhausted and dependent on their captor. Once isolated, the psychological attacks begin. The brainwasher will relentlessly attack a person's self-worth with degrading phrases like, "You aren't a soldier," or "You aren't even a man." Over weeks and months, this constant torment causes confusion, disorientation, and immense guilt. At this point, the victim starts to question their own beliefs and values, replacing their guilt with a deep sense of shame. The next, most devastating stage is forced betrayal. Victims are pushed to a breaking point and made to denounce everything they hold dear: their family, their name, and their loyalty to their country. This final act of betrayal shatters their identity, leaving them vulnerable and empty. The rebuilding of the mind. After all of this abuse and torment, a brainwasher will do something that seems completely contradictory. They'll offer an act of kindness. A simple gesture, like a drink of water or a kind word, feels like a monumental blessing to a person who has endured so much pain. This act creates a powerful bond, similar to Stockholm Syndrome, where the victim develops feelings for their captor. With this newfound gratitude and confusion, the brainwasher moves to the next phase: confession. The victim, now feeling a mix of conflicting emotions, is encouraged to confess their crimes or sins. The brainwasher then takes this deep, overwhelming guilt and attaches it to the victim's old belief system. They convince the victim that their own values, everything they once believed in, are the reason for all their physical and psychological agony. This allows the brainwasher to present their own beliefs as the only way to escape the suffering. The victim, desperate for relief, quickly and willingly swaps their old, broken identity for a new one that promises peace and safety. At this point, they've been successfully converted. Susceptibility and the final question. Many psychologists believe this entire process is only effective on people who are susceptible to influence. Just like with hypnosis, some individuals have a higher level of susceptibility and are more easily swayed, especially when pushed beyond what they can handle. This is why you often hear of brainwashing in cults or extremist groups, where leaders prey on those who are vulnerable. While the effects of brainwashing can be powerful, research suggests that the old self is not completely destroyed, it's merely hiding. This means that a person's former identity has the potential to return if they are removed from the brainwashing influence. The question then becomes, was the person truly brainwashed, or were they simply acting under duress to avoid further pain? This debate reminds us that brainwashing isn't a magical form of control, but a real psychological process that systematically exploits human vulnerability. If you want to understand how your own beliefs can be weaponized, and learn how to protect your mind, subscribe to The Dark Psychologist.